how well are we doing here in the state of Florida? Maybe we should ask Evan Power, who's joining us right now on Florida's Voice, and we appreciate him joining us, and we can talk about it. He's the Florida GOP chairman. First of all, it's Drew Steele. It's great to see you. How are you this morning?
It's great to see you. I'm doing well. Congratulations on the new show.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much, and thank you for being part of the show the first day. So we do appreciate you getting up early and hanging out with us. Yeah, I just played that clip, and I don't know if you heard it or not, but Joe Biden, who was on the campaign trail with Kamala Harris, and there she is with him, has to be. Well, I don't even know what she could possibly be thinking when Joe Biden is telling the audience that, remember, they were talking about it being chaotic. Remember the economy. Remember they were talking about interest rates rising. Come on, man. And it's exact. And people in the audience have to be like, that's exactly what's going on. Like, what are you doing
We
here?
know what 4 years ago was like. It was really good for America, and now we're here, and,
Right.
and it's scary, and it's not doing well for working class Americans.
Yeah, no doubt. I wonder what you're hearing here in the state of Florida when you see all of that. And there's something to be said about what is the reality on the ground, which is what people have in their lives going on that's tangible, right? The prices of everyday goods, the effects of a Biden Harris, soon to be Harris Walz, well, hopefully not an administration, but that's what we're talking about here. It's one and the same, right? The policies. But the idea that now people have to be engaged. Okay, you know what it's like here in the state of Florida, what you're hearing around the state as far as, look, we all know what's going on. Now we're engaged. It's after Labor Day. Let's get out there and push because we can't have 4 more years of this. It's easy to say, but now it's tangible. People feel it,
People do feel it, and I've never seen a more unified and fired up Republican Party than we do right now. People want to go out and walk doors and make phone calls and send text messages to let people know how important it is that they go out to the polls and vote because we know what President Trump's record was for 4 years, and we've seen what the record of the Harris Biden administration is, and people are feel it and are ready to go have change. And I think November 5th we're going to have a big night here in Florida.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too, and maybe you can speak to this as well, because we always talk about how many people are registering Republican in the state and the clear difference, and you can speak to that. But also on the other side of it, the importance of down ballot and how important it is to, yes, we have that focus at the top, but boy, do we have to stay focused as well, down ballot across the state, be focused on that, because the only way you can keep what you love about Florida politically is to keep what you love about Florida politically. And if that changes, all bets are off.
No, we've really become the beacon of freedom on voter registration. We crossed the million mark. But even more important, in the honeymoon month for Kamala Harris, which was supposed to be last month, we registered twice the number of Republicans Democrats did here in Florida. People like what they see here in Florida. We have become that beacon of freedom, and it's important that we keep electing officials down ballot because they are the bench that we need in the state legislature, in local government, and eventually in federal government. So we have to elect every Republican. It's a team. If we give the Democrats a foothold here in Florida, they're going to try to take it back and turn us back into California, and we just don't want that here in Florida.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine that there are people, I had the conversation this morning, Evan, and it's imagining that you live in a state and you can't get out of what has been years and years, and in some cases decades of policies that just keep you down, that keep the state. For example, you think of California, you think of New York. I played the clip of Nancy Pelosi commenting on giving $150,000 assistance to illegals in California, signing off on this idea that they should have the American dream, when we're all standing around saying, how can you do this? It's not just how about us as American citizens, but it's also about some of the reckless spending, some of the reckless politics, whether it's gender ideology, queer theory, whether it is economic issues, whether it's all of the things that we are trying to fight to protect our kids, protect families, protect our money, and being good stewards, all there in Tallahassee, for example, of our tax dollars, and how there are people that are trapped and they come here to get out of that. How do you ever think about that? Like, how do people continue to vote for policies that go against their best interest?
No, it's very frustrating. You see it, and you see people from New York. I think COVID accelerated this whole thing. You see people from New
Yeah.
York who've lived their whole lives in New York and vacationed here in Florida, and we're like, why can't we just live in Florida? And they've done that, and they're giving up that voting pattern because they're voting Republican here. So I think people are waking up. If you look at New York, for instance, their budget is twice what Florida's is, and we have more people than they do. And when you
Right.
fund that kind of level of government, people cannot be successful. You're going to tax them out of success. So we've really become that beacon of freedom, and I think people are waking up, and I think COVID just accelerated that.
Yeah, Florida GOP Chairman Evan Powers joining us here on Florida's Voice. We appreciate you all joining us this morning, 6 to 9 a.m. We are live each and every day, having the conversation statewide on a lot of different issues. You know, Evan, as you get out and you start to talk to Republicans in the state, maybe as opposed to what it is they're excited about, can you talk about a little bit more about their concerns, maybe specifically here in the state? Are there things that they talk to you about that they're worried about? Because it's a message that needs to get out if it's something out there.
Well, I think they're concerned about, and I think the legislature has started to address some of their concerns. Property insurance is obviously a concern here in Florida, and you saw the legislature did two special sessions to really address that. And I think the rates are starting to come down. But really, what they're scared about is what the federal government is doing in their daily lives. And people in Florida just want to be left free here in Florida, and that's why they want a second Trump administration because they know that President Trump took away some of those mandates and gave it back to the state because we trust our leaders here in Florida. We just don't trust our leaders in Washington.
Right. Yeah, and boy, that is such an important message because I'm sure you hear it all the time, and I do too. Just because you're the legislature starts up, or in Congress, you have a congressional session that is starting up. Just because you can do stuff doesn't mean you have to do stuff. I don't know if that makes sense, but you don't have to always do things. Sometimes there are good things in status quo. Sometimes little is more. It's okay. It's again about understanding politically the things that are important to the citizens and then focusing on that. And sometimes that's less. Does that make sense?
No, it does. I think sometimes the tendency when you go to a legislative body is to pass laws for the sake of passing laws. I think during Speaker Weatherford's administration, he gave bonus bills if you had repealers, where you actually took
Yeah.
laws off the books. And I think that's a good way to look at legislative action. We should be getting out of people's lives rather than adding to.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Florida GOP Chairman Evan Power joining us on Florida's Voice. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being part of the first day, Evan. First day, and I'm sure
Day
many
one.
more visits to come. Yeah, day one, baby. Day one. That's right. So we're looking forward to having you back. Okay. All the best. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.